Effective Basic Project Management, Module 8. Change Management. Changes to a project often occur when there's a marked deviation to one or more of the project's planned activity or resource, and it can occur at any time over the course of a project's life cycle. Change is very normal, but it can be unsettling, especially if it is unexpected. So it's really important to keep on top of any and all issues and risks that have been noted under the management and control of the project. Change can be positive as well as negative, such as the creation of additional or enhanced project benefits. The change management process is much the same as escalations, and the process to manage changes should be agreed up front as part of your project brief and project initiation discussions. General changes are followed via a recognized change control request or service management process, as defined within your organizational business. All changes to project scope should be confirmed in writing and agreed with the client, customer, or business case owner. Essentially, every change record should include the following. Again, a unique identifier for every change. Who's the change record owner? What's their name and contact details of the person raising the change record? What type of change is it? Is it an application, an infrastructure, resource, funding, change? What could it be? What's the change record or case title? What details of the change are required? Are there any associations or any other change records that this change record is linked to? Who needs to approve the change? Is it a team or an individual? And who's going to implement or perform the change? Finally, it may be necessary to raise an outage. What will be the outage for the change, or what will its effects be? And any other notes or anything additional for clarifying and understanding the change. It is usually best practice to discuss within a change the service impact, if that's appropriate for your respective business or organization. Change management or service management usually follows a standard approach to resolution, but events can come in at any stage of the service management flow dependent on the type of event it is. In the diagram, you can see various events and where they enter the change management process. Usually, it is based on this 4-level process. An event comes in at a service or help desk, and if it's resolved, it's closed. If not, it will then proceed to incident management, and then to problem management, and finally to change management. Let's do an exercise on change management. Using the project example again that you previously used in exercise 1, how did you manage change in your project? Take 15 or 20 minutes to discuss in pairs or in groups. Stop the video and return when complete. Closing a project. All projects should be closed cleanly with appropriate documentation drawn up to indicate that the objectives, deliverables, and business benefits as sought by the project have either been delivered or not, as the case may be. This should tie in with both the project's business case and project brief, which you developed at the start of the project, and should include any changes to the project, including scope, during the course of its life cycle. It is very useful to send out the slide pack to the invited attendees before the call or meeting, so that they can take time to review its contents and formulate any questions or comments that they might have. It should be noted that sometimes projects may be closed before being completed. This is generally treated as an exception, but the same clean closure should apply. It is also good practice to send a thank you to all respective individuals who have been involved in the project's successful delivery. Project closure meetings can either be face-to-face or via a conference call. A nice way to close out a project is via a presentation to the attendees, which should include all the respective elements of the project as outlined below. A project closure meeting should have appropriate and tailored agenda aligned to the activities of the project as follows. In the agenda, include the introduction and welcome to the project. What was the project scope and its delivery? What were some of the key deliverables? What was forecasted and what was completed? What was spent and what were the original costs? Any savings made? What were the benefits? What were the main risks and issues that had to be resolved? What were the key learnings and opportunities of the project and any training or development required? How did you manage the project and control it? And what is the process improvements going forward that may be necessary based upon the project's events? any future strategy and thinking, and anything else that you might want to add to the agenda to add value to the project closure. So let's do an exercise on project closure. Again, using the project example you previously used in exercise 1, design a simple project closure report. Take 15 or 20 minutes in pairs or groups to discuss, and when complete, return to the video. The post-implementation review. Remember, just closing a project without a review is not complete. You need to have a post-implementation review, or PIR, which is held towards the closure of a project, usually after, but you may want to combine it with the project closure meeting itself. And you have this meeting with all key respective stakeholders to discuss essentially what went well, what did not go so well, what did we learn, what could have been done differently, and how can we improve. Much of the project documentation that we've already covered will really help you to answer these questions. The PIR can either be face-to-face or in a conference call, and notes from the PIR should always be taken and distributed to all attendees after the meeting. So in this exercise, using the project example you previously used in exercise 1, design a very simple PIR, or post-implementation review. Take 15 or 20 minutes to discuss in pairs or groups and return to the video when complete. Finally, let's look at the project workflow roadmap. Looking at this diagram, as complicated as it is, we'll go through all the various slides that we have covered to date on this course. You can see that the project journey is taking us from identify along the project's lifecycle stage of justifying and defining and closing and outcome reviewing all the various documents and things that you could include as part of your plan. Take time to look at this document and see how you can develop your projects accordingly.